Behind the news on your body, from staying active to eating the right foods and avoiding alcohol. Hi, I'm Krista Eleftherio. Welcome to this Behind the News look at your body. First, to junk food. It may taste pretty good, but we all know it's not good for us. So what's in it that's so bad?
Still junk. Junk.
A lot of junk
More
is
junk.
easy to identify.
Junk. Junk. Junk.
But what about this? One of the world's top medical journals wants junk food labelled. But is it that easy?
It's food that tastes good, but it's not really very good for you.
The simple definition for junk food is stuff that contains loads of fat, sugar and salt, and not much of the really important stuff, like nutrients and vitamins that keep us healthy. Obviously we need to eat and drink, or we die.
We need to eat foods from all these groups, and we obviously need to eat more from the larger sections of the circle than from the smaller sections.
So what about chocolate? Is that considered to be junk food?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe one to say that. You could say that's junk food, and that's because it's mostly fat and sugar with very little goodness in it.
So how many times a week can we eat junk food?
It's hard because everyone's diet's very different. And try to keep your extras to a minimum. So try and maybe only have chocolate once a day, or have the takeaway food only once a week.
Okay, so what if you just eat foods from, say, the fruit and veg group all day? Then is a burger for dinner junk food or not?
Food's about enjoying it, so if they enjoy that they can, but they just need to remember that that's an extra food, and it means that they're eating less of the healthy foods because they're having that hamburger. So once in a while is not a problem.
Alright, I'll have them as well.
Well, okay, but apparently then you have a fat problem. Cheese, milk, fruit and other foods like meat contain all the fat and sugar we need each day. A single burger from a fast food store contains up to 2 times the amount of fat an adult should eat in a whole day. It's the total amount and types of food you eat over time that make up a healthy diet. Might be easy to slap some foods like chocolate, soft drinks and deep-fried fast foods with a junk food label. But what about peanut butter? Half of this is fat. There's added salt and sugar too. Is it junk? Muesli bars have healthy fibre, but some are packed with sugar and salt. Are they junk? How much fat and sugar is considered too much and maybe falling into the junk food category? Can we define it?
It is hard to define.
Labels already tell you how much fat, sugar and salt the products have, and as you can imagine, food companies don't want their products labelled as junk. So would you like to see a junk food label introduced? Could it work? Would it make any difference to the foods you choose to eat? Yes, and it's not only takeaway food that's loaded with sugar. Many breakfast cereals have amazingly high levels of sugar, and as we've just seen, that's not good.
Mum, what's this?
It's breakfast. Come on, we have to get to school.
No, your mum hasn't lost the plot, but believe it or not, eating a bowl of about 8 jelly beans is a bit like eating your average breakfast cereal. A new study has found that many breakfast meals like this contain up to 3 teaspoons of sugar per serving, which equals about 15 grams, and they don't have much of anything good in them either. In fact, researchers think the most nutritious part of the meal is the milk, and they even say it's only slightly better than eating nothing at all. You're probably thinking, hang on a minute, in my nutrition classes I've been taught that cereals are some of the best foods I can eat. But your teachers aren't talking about breakfast cereals. They're talking about cereal crops like wheat, barley, oats and rice. You can find whole grain cereals in these healthy breakfast meals. Now, a lot of other cereals have some of these good products in them, but they've been changed in the factory and had stuff added to them, so the final product is not so healthy. In fact, 19 of the 20 most popular children's cereals had too much sugar or too little fibre. Now, hopefully they didn't spend too much money on that study, because you can find out most of that information by simply looking on the box. Here you'll find the amount of protein, fat and energy in each serving, but the one to watch out for is sugar. In this cereal you'll find a whopping 11 grams of sugar per serving. Compare it to one of the cereals that got the thumbs up, and they're 0.8 grams. Now, a good thing to look out for is dietary fibre. Fibre is found naturally in things like fruit, vegetables and grains, so bread, oatmeal and rice are great sources of fibre. Fibre helps keep your body running properly. It stops things like constipation and sore stomachs, so it basically keeps waste products moving through and out of your body. You're supposed to have about 18 grams of fibre a day. In the good cereals, you start the day with between 3 and 6 grams. In the cereals that got the thumbs down, you get less than 1 gram of fibre. Many breakfast bars fared about the same.
Does this mean I can't eat any sweet breakfast meals?
Well, it's up to you and your parents, but dietitians say it's okay to have sugary cereals as a special treat. Yeah, you know what I mean. So we're starting to build a list of things to avoid. Too much fat, too much sugar. Here's something else to add: alcohol. It's not just because your parents say no. Alcohol can have a terrible effect on your health, as Kerry explains.
Looks like a soft drink. This too. But all of these are actually alcoholic drinks. Alcohol, soft drink. The similarity between them is one of the things being blamed for the increase in the number of teenage girls drinking alcohol in Australia, even though it's illegal.
Oh, look at that.
Advertising, poor body image, and peer pressure are also being blamed. This drink has about that much alcohol in it. Others have more, some less. But what actually is alcohol? Alcohol is what these little critters release when they go to the loo. They're yeast organisms, and they're used during the fermentation process. They eat the sugar in fruit, veggies and grains and release alcohol as a waste. No wonder our bodies don't like the stuff very much. In fact, alcohol gets up to all sorts of mischief once it gets inside. Alcohol moves into the bloodstream by sneaking through the walls of the small intestine. The liver's job is to break it up into less harmful or useful stuff like water and sugar before it does too much damage. It's a bit like a recycling plant, really. The trash is separated so some of it can be reused. Here's the problem. If you overload the system, it can't keep up, and some of the trash gets through. Same with the liver. If there's too much alcohol, some of it gets through, because the liver can only break down 15 millilitres of the stuff an hour. That's about what's in one of these. The blood transports the leftover alcohol around the body, so it will come back to the liver. But along the way, it has a field day up here. It looks a bit like a cauliflower, but this is a brain, and it controls pretty much everything we do. It does this by sending electrical messages to our muscles and organs along nerve cells. Each cell is close to but not touching the next one, so the message is fired across the gap. But alcohol likes to get into these gaps and interfere. The result? The message is slowed down. That explains why people who have drunk too much get blurred vision can't walk properly and slur their speech. If you keep pouring alcohol into your body, the brain can shrink and the liver stops functioning. Okay, so the liver doesn't actually blow up, but it doesn't look pretty if it fails. Liver failure is called cirrhosis. In the last decade, 7,000 Australians have died from the disease.
Cancer, heart failure, osteoporosis, ulcers.
Alcohol has been linked to all of these. In fact, kids who start drinking before the age of 15 are 4 times more likely to become alcoholics than those who wait until they reach the legal age. While soft drinks aren't exactly healthy, they're definitely a safer option.
Well, so far we've told you all the things you shouldn't eat or drink. And here's something you shouldn't do. Don't sit around all day playing computer games or watching TV. To be healthy, you need some exercise. Sarah put on her sports shoes and joined in.
Nearly 1 in 4 Aussie kids is obese.
Obesity is costing our health system $1.2 billion a year.
More and more Aussie kids are getting diabetes.
When you hear surveys with statistics like that, you start to wonder, are Aussie kids just stuffing themselves with food these days? Well, the truth is, it's got a lot more to do with things we don't do these days. Think back to when your grandparents were kids.
Ah yes, but things were a lot different in my day. When we came home from school, we played soccer in the streets until dark.
But these days, adults keep a much closer watch on children, which means you're much more likely to have to play inside. And that can mean a lot of sitting around. Maybe you'll be sitting watching sport. Australia has a proud sporting tradition. We have loads of top-level sportsmen and women. But many of us would rather watch these people, and we're top-level spectators instead. And when you do watch them, thanks to remote controls, you don't even have to get off the couch.
We had to walk to the individual shops for meat, for fruit, for groceries.
Many things that used to be a big effort are now easy, for adults too. These days you can pay bills by phone, even do grocery shopping online.
Sometimes I would sneak off and smoke cinema sticks in the courthouse.
Okay, not everything was healthy back then. But how often do you have to walk home from the shops with the week's shopping? Experts say the key is getting some incidental exercise. It's not organised exercise, just activities that get you moving, like playing with the dog, chucking a frisbee, throwing a ball. These kids at Blackwood High School aren't allowed to spend their recess time in the library sitting around gossiping. Instead, they borrow sports equipment and get in and have a go.
Well, I'd rather be out here playing sport because you make new friends, it's heaps of fun and you keep up your fitness level.
That's great once you're at school, but what about getting there?
We walked a distance of 2 miles to my school, through all kinds of weather, hail, rain or shine, even snow.
Most people are used to piling in the car and heading off, but if you live close enough, why not walk? Or do what these kids do with their virtual bus or walking bus. The idea is some parents walk a group of kids to and from school. Good exercise.
I catch the virtual bus because I catch up with my mates in the morning. It's fun and I get a bit of exercise in.
Take me to that place we go together.
And if you get the choice between taking the stairs and taking the lift, well, you know I'm going to say, take the stairs.
Well, I hope you are feeling inspired after those stories, now that you know a bit more about keeping your body healthy. Catch you next time.